All right. I'm here for the White Sox. I'm here for you, Southside. I'm here to bring it. I know you guys are a very formidable club, and you have been for years, although you just haven't hit that pinnacle, you haven't hit that peak, you haven't hit the top where you want to be in quite a while. And I think the last time was the Houston World Series, right here in 2005. That's when you hit that peak, that pinnacle, where you really wanted to be. And you haven't had that many appearances since then, only 3. So, big dry spell between 9 and 19. And last year. But we'll talk about last year in a second. I just want to look at these WAR guys for a second. Just to go back in history to look at some of these guys is so cool. Obviously, this is your big dog, Frank. Excuse me, as a modern player. But Luke Appling and Ted Lyons up in the 70s. And so the WAR statistic is, it's could be skewed a bit because it's above replacement. So you don't know if the replacement is a bad player or a good player. So when they put that statistic together, it could be a bit confusing. But assuming the player is just an average player, the replacement player, they're saying this guy is going to get you 68 more wins when he's in the lineup versus the average guy, which is pretty good, pretty big deal. Let's take a look. Robin Ventura. One of my favorite ones, Abreu, which I believe just departed, which kind of makes me sad. But, and Burley. Mark Burley. So that was kind of cool. Anyway. And Carlton Fisk. Well, we have one more too there. Konerko and Sale. Woo. Sale, Fisk, and Sale, Konerko, and Fisk to round out the group up there. All right, getting back to where we are here with the White Sox. And I'm just reviewing my notes because I did put down for the White Sox a predicted amount of wins I believe them to have this particular season. And so let's just take a look. You had a 93 win season in 21, and you have not had a 90 win season since really an 88 win season here. But you had a stretch here between 13 and I'll even say through 19, where these were some pretty lean years. That was like 7 years. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 really lean years between 13 and 19. 89 win season here. You lost the ALDS. You did actually win a game in that divisional series. Looks like in the 20 COVID year, you actually went to the playoffs. You won 35 out of 60 games. Not bad. You had a 600 winning percentage, and you lost 2-1 in the ALWC. 2021, you had 93 wins. Not bad. Not bad. All right, let's move on. Oh, my prediction for you guys for this year is an improvement from 81 wins to 86 wins. Now, I know that doesn't probably tantalize you too much, but it is an improvement from last year's club. So you take that for what it's worth. Let's take a look here. In terms of depth chart now, let's see, right now they're 2-2 in the spring training, and this is March 1st. Wow, this is a really good starting pitching. Cease, Dylan Cease, Lance Lynn, Lucas Giolito, Michael Kopech, and Mike Clevinger. Honestly, I think this is one of the best. This Lynn, I don't know if he's got enough gas in the tank to run a whole season. So I think that's your weak point in your starting pitching. But Cease, you're not going to go wrong with Cease, and you can't go wrong with Giolito. And Kopech is just an up-and-coming arm. This guy could even be lifted up to where Lynn is and go Kopech to Lynn. if you, and then Clevinger, oh my lord. Well, Clevinger I think fell off a little bit, but this guy can be dominating too. So you got very, very good pitching. I don't think the pitching is going to be an issue in terms of the starters. So let's take a look at the default batting order per RotoWire. Excuse me again. Anderson, obviously, at first, leading off. Probably I would say he's a top 5 leadoff hitter in baseball. Lewis Robert for 2. Benintendi, he's going to... Oh, that's interesting. Now, see, Andrew's been all over the place. He went from the Red Sox to the Royals to the Yankees and then back to another big city, the White Sox, from the Yankees. So hopefully Andrew can find a home here in this big city. You guys need to embrace him. I think he's going to be good. Jimenez, Moncada, Vaughn, Grandal, Sheets, and Andrus. That's pretty good bats. These are all pretty formidable bats. This is going to be an interesting group to watch. Now, me having them listed at 86 wins, when you look at that starting pitching and you look at this batting, who's going to falter first, the batting or the pitching? I think the batting will. I think the batting will falter in the season first before this pitching will. I think your pitching is going to hold up pretty good. Now that's starting. I haven't looked at your bullpen, but now if we look at the left-handed pitching, Anderson doesn't change. You got Moncada in there and Robert. They literally pushed Benintendi all the way down to 7 against left-handed because he's a lefty. So, but that's too far for Benintendi to go down. He should be no lower than 5 and have Vaughn at 6. But anyway, yeah, this is and Andrus is a good old bat. So I like the batting. I'm not saying I love it. I'm not totally in love with it because I can see them faltering. Just like all good teams falter in their batting. Now let's take a look at one of the more important underrated factors in baseball, and that's the bullpen. I like to kind of take a look at them. And it looks as though Hendricks is having some issues in terms of health. I believe it's cancer. I'm not sure what it is, but that is kind of bad for you guys. I know I've been a Twins fan for a long time, and we had Hendricks, and so I mean they didn't need him. I don't know why they didn't need him. I didn't think they didn't need him. Could have kept him. But Twins always do that. They'll just let go of guys that are really good. Look at David Ortiz. They just let him go to the Red Sox, and look what happened to Ortiz. He became like a Hall of Famer. So they do this all the time. The Twins do. So they let go of good players like Hendricks and Ortiz, and the list goes on. Johan Santana. You can go on and on and on. 10th best bullpen out of 30. White Sox. Let's go back and take a gander at this White Sox bullpen. Now we're going to have to take the closer out of the picture. I don't know if Bummer's going to have to come in or Kelly is going to have to come in to do the closing. Diekman. I could see Reynaldo Lopez closing. If here's what I could see occurring here. If Hendricks is going to have health issues, I could see them elevating Lopez as the door slamming closer, just because of his size and his ability to to command the zone and everything else at the end of a game. I could see him doing really good. You got Lampert from the Rockies. That's interesting. Graveman. I think you had Graveman there last year. So yeah, this is probably a top 10, I would say, bullpen. Not absolutely phenomenal, but good enough to get the job done and win games. My Twins are at 7. I like their bullpen just a little bit better than the White Sox bullpen, but I like the White Sox starting pitching better than the Twins starting pitching. So, in the bats, as far as comparing the bats, I think the White Sox have a better batting team than the Twins do. I think the Twins' biggest asset is their bullpen, and then their starting pitching. I think the biggest asset for the White Sox is their starting pitching, then their batting, then their bullpen. And their batting and bullpen could be tied, for second place. That's how good I think the bullpen could be for the White Sox. Excuse me. Now, this team last year hit... I want to go to hitting. I don't want to go to pitching right away. Last year was a really big down year for team batting average. It was one of the worst ones I've ever seen. I'm not going to go through, I did that in the Twins outlook. So you could, if you want to see me going through the team batting averages over the last, since 2002, you can go to my Twins outlook and see it. But it was insane how low this 264 is. I mean, many years, almost every year, there's somebody at least at 280 on team batting average. So this is absolutely abysmal. And so what I think happened is you had a big influx of really good pitching last year coming in, and underwhelming batting. The batting just was not there. I remember doing some statistical analysis in the middle of the season last year, and I think there was articles coming out about how bad the hitting actually was and how good the pitching actually was. So it was a convergence of really bad hitting and really good pitching, and that mixture was just really bad on the team batting average. So let's go back down to where Chicago came in. That was 5 at 256. Let me just give you a quick example of a previous version of the White Sox, and that's 256 at 20 into where the White Sox were in terms of hitting. Another 5, I believe, was their year. 262, and that was 18th ranked. So you can see what I'm saying is if they're 5 and 22 and 18 in 2005, and they were still above where they were last year in 2018, ranked down at 18, that tells you all you need to know about how bad the teams were hitting last year. That tells you all you need to know. There's nothing else you need to look at right there. So I anticipate the the baseball teams to hit better this year. I don't think you could do any worse than 264. That was the worst hitting year probably ever in modern history. So let's keep an eye out also on the pitching. Is the pitching that dominating? Are they going to be that dominating in 23 like they were in 22? Because there are really a lot of good pitching arms out there. There really is. And that's interesting. So let's see if that carries over to 23. Let's just go with the last portion of the video here and talk about some of their... This is an 81 and 81 team, so just a straight 500 team. Last year, this is a weird statistic, 37 and 44 at home. That's weird. The Southsiders, they should be playing better than that at home. 457 winning percentage. So this was a road warrior team last year. The White Sox were road warriors, 44 and 37. That's kind of a weird anomaly. So when they hit the road, they were playing hard. The White Sox were playing hard on the road, and that's awesome to see that. 8 and 12 in April, May 15 and 12, June 12 and 15, July 16 and 11, August very, very average, just very, very average. Didn't play up to their potential last year. Could have been above average team. I bet you this team could have easily squeaked 90 wins out of the season, and they only hit 81. I see them heading more towards 90 this year, so go out and support your team. They're going to have a way better home record, and buy tickets and watch the White Sox. This is an exciting group, exciting pitching, good hitting, and also a solid bullpen. So I am going to leave it at that. And I just want to thank you for sitting with me here and checking out the 2023 Chicago White Sox outlook. Thank you.